College football season is here. The summer is officially over. We're live in Sioux Falls for the first of its kind. It's Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day. A packed show is on tap. Tim Polasek, Bryce Lance, Dan Jackson, a guest star list of 1,000 coming up. Hot Mic, live on location, starts now.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Monday morning, and welcome everybody to a new week on Hot Mic. We are live on location this morning from the Sanford Pentagon here in Sioux Falls for Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day. Something that's been in the works for the better part of the last 3 months has come to fruition, and for those that have heard me say it, I will say it again. Summer is donezo, everybody, because we're talking college football this morning with fall camp right around the corner for the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hot Mic. I am Dom Izzo, host of said show. Hope everybody had a dynamite weekend. We're ready to rock and roll. Let's say a first-of-its-kind kind of deal. I'm just off of my left shoulder here behind us. The new commissioner of the Missouri Valley Football Conference, Jeff Jackson, is up on stage with Josh Fenton, the Summit League commissioner, who, of course, is a partner of the Missouri Valley Football Conference, and along with Kyle Grooms, who's now the COO of the Missouri Valley Football Conference. They are meeting with the assembled media here today to talk about where the league is at and the new partnership and some various topics there. We're going to hear from both commissioners throughout our two shows today. So if you're not sick of me by 11 o'clock, we're going to be back later today at 1 to 3 exclusively on Inforum.com and WDAY Plus for 2 hours there. And we have a dynamite lineup of guests that we'll get to in just a little bit. Really excited about who we're going to have join us on the show this morning. Just to give you the gist of what's going on here today. So the 10 teams are all here, one with the head coach and 2 players that the coaches have picked to be here. They got in yesterday. They did some social media interaction. They did some Top Golf right across the way from us here at the Pentagon, had dinner, all that kind of good stuff, and then we'll meet here today. There are 5 teams here this morning. The Bison are here this morning. The Jackrabbits are here this morning, and then this afternoon UND will be here. South Dakota will be here. So we'll hear from all of the representatives from the Dakotas on our 2 shows coming up over the span of the next 4 to 5 hours. So long day, but a fun one that's on tap. And I'll tell you off the top here, when we had Jeff Jackson on when he was announced as the new commissioner of the league, this was a high priority for them to do something in person to jumpstart the college football season. And we've seen it. We've talked about it on our program several times over on what the league is looking to do visibility-wise, trying to get itself out there, trying to get people talking about the conference before the season begun. Everybody else does this. Every other conference. The Big Sky had a 3-day event that's wrapping up today in Spokane. Big South Ohio Valley had its last week. The CAA has its coming up this week. Valley, for years, was basically a Zoom conference and teleconference, and we picked it up. We've done it over the past, I don't know, Eric, how many, 3-4 years we've done the Zoom Missouri Valley Media Day, and it's okay. This is a big-time deal. You can see behind me the people from the Summit League who've put on Summit League Basketball Media Day, and we've been down here for that each of the last couple of years. They're a helping hand with the Valley on this. Summit League Director of Media Ryan Powell here helping out as well. They have integrated with the Valley, part of that new partnership that I'm sure there's being discussed on the main stage that they've wanted to discuss. So, and do. And now here it is. It's a reality. So this is kind of the test balloon. There are several other media entities here, mostly television-wise, or from the Dakotas, which we anticipated that would be here. But I'm interested to see the other media outlets that come to cover this and how big, like who's coming from Murray State, who've got Youngstown State. What about Southern Illinois? Those kind of teams. Are there any representatives outside of North and South Dakota and Iowa that come to this? That's the big question that I'm looking to get answered here as the day rolls on. All right, so let's first tell you, I have in my hand right here is the preseason Missouri Valley conference poll, which Eric typed up and got done at about, 8:45 this morning? So we can unveil that here this morning. No surprise, NDSU is first. What may be surprising to some is they are not a unanimous number one. They got 39 of the 42 first-place votes. I will, full disclosure, I had a vote in this. I did vote NDSU number one. South Dakota State comes in at number 2, slightly ahead of USD. The Coyotes got the other 3 first-place votes, something I'm sure we'll discuss as the day rolls on. Again, in this day and age of the transfer portal and how active, especially is in FCS, the guys coming and going, preseason polls are almost throwing a dart at a dartboard blindfolded these days. Illinois State comes in at 4. The Redbirds had 6 preseason first-team All-Americans on Craig Haley's All-American list that came out last week. They won 10 football games. You have to remember that a season ago. Youngstown State comes in at 5. Southern Illinois and at 6. UND comes in at 7. Northern Iowa at 8. Indiana State at 9. And Murray State comes in at 10. I am almost positive. I might have SIU and Youngstown flipped in my poll, but this is almost identical to what I sent in for my ballot. So whether that's good, bad, or indifferent, you can take that for what it's worth. But that was what we had for our preseason poll. So what do you take out of this? Well, everybody knows what NDSU has back in terms of its returning talent. Whether that manifests itself is still yet to be determined. The Jackrabbits are the great test balloon. With the amount of changeover that SDSU had on its roster for the offseason with Dan Jackson coming in after Jimmy Rogers left for Washington State, that is intriguing, I guess is the best way to describe what the Jacks season could behold. USD at 3, and I think everything changed for South Dakota once the portal window closed in April. Because USD, let's make no bones about it, got ravaged. USD lost 5 starters in April, 3 of them on the offensive line. They lost their top tackler. They lost one of their outstanding playmakers as well. That's hard to replace. We're going to have Aiden Bauman, USD quarterback, join us in our late show from 1 to 3 to discuss that. Because remember, for those that watched our broadcast when we televised the game down in Vermilion, Bauman went through senior introductions. Like, this was over and done with. And then he decided right after the game with Montana State wrap, with the Coyotes loss in the semis, that he said he was going to come back thinking he was going to have the team that he was going to have. And that obviously did not end up being the case with what happened in the portal. Illinois State at 4 is really intriguing. And we're going to have Brock Spack on later, head coach of the Redbirds. They had some change there. They lost their top offensive lineman. Hunter Zambrano went in the portal. But remember, last year, they didn't have Mason King almost the entire season. For 99.9% of the season, they didn't have their top tailback, who got injured early on of the season with a torn ACL that happened against Iowa in the season opener. So that is still left to be decided as well about what could potentially happen with the Redbirds. So that is the preseason poll. And again, you could probably, is it worth the amount of paper that it was printed on? We'll find out when we get to November. Again, this season being a 12-game football season, everybody is playing 12. The hot topics for me today, I'm sure from the assembled media that are here, are going to be on the House settlement, how that affects, because all the Valley teams opted in, something that may have been up in the air prior to the deadline of June 30th. That was decided, and everybody decided to opt in on that. The designated student athletes, I was just visiting with Tim Polasek about this prior to coming on the air, about how that was determined for his team, and how that, and we'll try and explain that coming up later on in the show. And frankly, still the indecision on the portal and the windows on it. I know that was something we discussed on this show ad nauseum throughout the offseason, was, is there going to be just one? Because I know there's a large push on that to just get one window, and when that it is it either in January or is it in April? And I think there's still some indecision on that. Couple other things I want to get to here before we set up our guest lineup and get rolling here this morning. You look ahead, top games, and we did this a couple weeks ago, the top games in the Valley for 2025. And I picked a handful of them, and they're going to have some familiar teams that are in the mix, but that's the way it works. It starts, obviously, the opening week of games, September the 27th. The Bison host USD to start conference play in 2025. And remember, USD has beaten NDSU each of the last 2 years in the regular season. That is no doubt about it. So, obviously, the Bison got the Coyotes in the FCS quarterfinals as revenge, but there's only one quarterback that has beaten NDSU 3 times in a row. That's Mark Gronowski. Aiden Bauman has the opportunity to do that again at homecoming, which they did a couple years ago in Fargo. The next highlight game, October the 25th, Bison at the Jackrabbits. We were driving down here past Brookings yesterday, obviously with high anticipation. We know ESPN has selected that game as one of the 2 nationally televised games for this upcoming season. Something, obviously, that we're keeping an eye on to potentially find out maybe when that game is. We might today, maybe not till later on when we get closer to kickoff. November 1, UND at South Dakota. Now, the Fighting Hawks have yet to beat the Coyotes in Vermillion of the Division I era. They had a heck of a chance a couple years ago. They came up short there in a game where their offense really struggled. Intrigued to see how that one plays out. We're going to have Eric Schmidt join us at about 1:15 later today to get the download on the Fighting Hawks. Again, it's an off-season of change in this league. November 8th, couple of doozies. SDSU USD obviously is huge in this state. Again, ESPN will be picking that game up. They'll be at the Dakota Dome for that. The Bison UND game. So you have each of the Dakota matchups happening on the same day on November the 8th. November the 15th, South Dakota at Southern Illinois. That's tough. That's a tough late-season trip to Carbondale. The Bison did that a couple years ago in 2022. Weather can sometimes be an issue. Just late in the season, playing a tough game like that, be really intrigued to see how that plays out. And then the final week of the season. Remember, the Bison do not play a conference game to wrap up 2025. They are taking on St. Thomas to wrap up the regular season. South Dakota State will take on UND up in Grand Forks. Second year in a row, by the way, that's happening. That's a schedule fluke. You'll see the Bison going to Illinois State 2 years in a row. That's because of Missouri State dropping out of the league. But also this year starts 2 straight years of NDSU going to Grand Forks to take on UND. So those are the spotlight games that at least we've highlighted for the upcoming season. Looking forward to that. I'm sure there'll be a couple I miss that people will be up in arms about, but we'll find out once the year gets going. All right, let's set up our guest lineup, which is brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. Of course, we appreciate their sponsorship of our show each and every day. It is packed this morning of who we've got coming up on the show. It'll start here in just a few minutes. NDSU head football coach Tim Polasek will join me here. That's our first official interview to start the 2025 season, first of many. Looking forward to our conversation with Tim about the offseason and getting ready. Fall camp begins for the Bison a week from Wednesday. We'll be followed by Bryce Lance. He's one of the 2 student athletes that are here today. What a year that the Marshall kid had last season. 17 touchdown receptions after having 1 career catch coming into 2024. An All-American last year. What does he have for an encore in 2025? We're going to ask him coming up at 9:40. Our second hour, we'll have plenty of Jackrabbits. Dan Jackson will join us, the new head football coach at South Dakota State. He'll join us at 10 a.m. to chat about what's been a tumultuous offseason, him taking the Jackrabbit job. Of course, the horrible tragedy of Nate White passing away just a few weeks ago and how his team has adjusted to that. Now getting ready for a really intriguing year. Still a lot of high expectations in Brookings, that despite the fact that they lost 25 guys to Washington State, that SDSU is expected to be very good this upcoming year. Sam Hagen will join us right after that from Park River, North Dakota. Offensive lineman at South Dakota State in his second year at SDSU after transferring from 2 years at UND. He'll be joining the Jacks this upcoming year. He'll join us at 10:15. At 10:30, the head coach of Southern Illinois, Nick Hill, will be here. He's now one of the elder statesmen in the league with all the changeover we had this past offseason with Mark Farley retiring at Northern Iowa. Brock Spack moves to the top spot. After that, Nick Hill is after that. Nick is in his now 8th year at Southern Illinois. He'll join us at 10:30. And we'll wrap things up with the commissioner of the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Jeff Jackson will join us. He's had the job for about a month. We'll ask him about how the transition has gone and what you have in store for this season. I know when we had him on Hot Mic back in May, his goal was to get to as many places as possible, to see as many games as possible, and we'll get his thoughts on what this can be not only for today but also moving forward. So that is our guest lineup. It's busy. It's going to be packed. Our usual set of characters that join us are actually here today. I'm seeing Kolpak is interviewing Polasek right now. Sam Herder is here. They're busy doing stuff. If we have time to get them in throughout the show, either from 9 to 11 or from 1 to 3, we will certainly do that. But that's our lineup here on what's a special Monday program. Real quick before we go to break and we get Tim on, shout out to our entire technical crew that got us set up here. Alex Movia, our engineer. Kyle Strecker's over with Sam Getzinger interviewing. Eric, of course, is here. And everybody back in studio control making this happen today. Really appreciative of them and of our bosses for sending us down here because they made this a big deal. And it is a big deal. It's the official start of the college football season. So that is our show lineup here on this Monday. I feel like we've talked enough. We got to get it rolling. We'll take our first break. We come back. NDSU head football coach Tim Polasek will join us to get the show started. Hot Mic live on location at the Pentagon in Sioux Falls. We're back on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KNBN, Inforum.com, and WDAY Plus right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Hot Mic live on location here in Sioux Falls on Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day, the official start of the 2025 college football season. How about a leadoff hitter we got? North Dakota State head football coach Tim Polasek joins us. I was just joking off air. Were you a leadoff hitter in your baseball days? Where were you in the lineup?
It depended on how hot Goose was. Because Nick would either bat fifth. There were some times when we were swinging good. We were batting the 3-hole. But most of the time, I think the better the team, I kind of batted in the back end of it and focused on pitching. And so the Brewers are hot. That's all I know.
Believe me, I know. Benell's a huge Brewer fan, so they already surpassed the bets of what's going on. All right, so this is our official first interview of 2025. Give me a sense of this. I mean, you and I have talked about trying to get the league some more attention, get on the spotlight. When you heard they were going to do an in-person media day, what were your thoughts about it?
Well, I go back to like the middle of May. And I started having some conversations while we were out recruiting. Number one, Coach Sprack, Eric Schmidt was kind enough to get on the call. A few other guys, and we were kind of up in the air on, okay, is this something that we really want to do?
Yeah.
A week or so ahead of fall camp. And as time went on, and I talked to our leadership, this is something that's been at the forefront, and we needed to embrace and have open mind about it. All I can say is Jeff and his staff last night, dinner was phenomenal. So unbelievable meal and camaraderie. And it's good, especially with the way where we're at in college football and some of the nuance.
Yeah.
And it's not a matter of trading each other's game plans, but just to know what issues are there, what ideas are out there. And so it's off to a great start. I'm real eager to see how today goes.
Yeah.
How is it for our players, and then how can we make it better moving into next year?
All right, so fall camp starts officially a week from Wednesday. What for you now? This is the countdown. You've had a chance to see guys doing summer workouts. What's the next 7-8 days look like before you get going?
Well, we adjusted our summer schedule a little bit again. So we've been back in the office since Wednesday. And the primary purpose there was to get with our players, to get around them, to evaluate our young guys, but then maybe to have, a couple short meetings, do some things on the field, obviously within the rules, obviously no 11-on-11 stuff. But it's good to be around our kids and to be back in Fargo. And we had a great event up in Velva. I'm so grateful and thankful to those people. Holly was as good as I've seen it. And
it
so
was packed out there for golf.
It was. Yeah. Derek Lang and the crew, continue. We're on an uptick with all of our events. You know how much I like doing that stuff. And then, again, it's just an opportunity for Matt and Todd and Derek and Clean. It's a real chance for us to get to build our relationship. And I'm starting to feel a real sense of friendship there. So then this week we got Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday we conclude with a really good cookout, and then our players will have off for about 4 days, and so will the staff. And so that's going to provide an opportunity for us to go in and get educated at some NFL OTAs if coaches want to do that. That's why I did it, because when we were at Iowa, we had that opportunity to get into some camps. And so I really like our schedule so far, and I can't wait to get the next Monday and get up and running.
The big picture item is, I know it's on the agenda because you and I have talked about it, is having – summer OTAs become a thing, that you're with the team, that seems like the ball's rolling towards that could change maybe by next year, that you're having practices in the summertime.
Yeah, well, they'll give you the flexibility to make a decision. what do you want to do with 20 workouts, basically? Yep. Is it 10 in spring, 10 in June? If we're healthy and our numbers are strong, we'll stay relatively similar. But we will take advantage for the freshmen and incoming kids, and maybe even the redshirt freshmen in June, maybe a 12-period, 18-period non-contact practice to teach concepts in the base fundamentals. I'm excited about the flexibility that the NCAA is looking at with that. I think that could provide some real opportunity, not only from a standpoint of moving your club forward, but again, showing and showcasing things in recruiting in June for high school student athletes.
I want to get on the field here in a second, but it seems like everything has been off the field. So I haven't had a chance to talk to you since the school decided to opt into the House settlement. What I'm interested in now is the discussions you had with the football team about, okay, we're going to designate you. How did those go about, and were they receptive, were the players receptive on, hey, we're actually guaranteeing you a spot on the roster by doing this?
Yeah. Well, it was number one, I was able to make some calls. I do want to say thank you to Chris Kleiman for being available. The Iowa operations staff, their general manager, had some good conversations with Jimmy Rogers, just on the approach of all this stuff. The one thing that I'm really excited about is that we kind of said, hey, let's see how college football unfolds. And we didn't make an early decision to opt in, and that allowed us to be the full deck.
Yep.
Okay, so we brought in about 35 guys to simply educate them on what it would mean to be a DSA. And then we had the ability, or we had to designate at least 21. So that's our total number, guys in the program, walk-ons, school start walk-ons, guys that are injured. And I thought Grant Olson was really good in providing some information, a PowerPoint to those guys, and then I kind of came in with the hammer. This is what it is. Yeah. And I said, I'm going to be in the weight room, and I'm going to be out here in the indoor for the next hour and a half. You guys come up to me and let me know if you want to be are you all in? In the response of guys like, Coach, I just want you to know I want a spot. They didn't really have an idea, like, were we cutting guys?
Right.
And so to ensure those guys that they still could be part of revenue share and they could still get put on scholarship and get the information to them. But honestly, what an opportunity in the middle of summer to see where some guys stood. Not only, hey, I want to do this, but, Coach, I don't really know how the fall is going to go. How's this going to shake out? And then maybe not designate a couple guys. And so we feel really good about carrying – I want to be I told Matt I'm going to swing for the fences. We want to be 120, 121 plus for 3 or 4 years.
For as long as possible.
For as long as possible.
Wow. Obviously, you're going to get, I think, probably every question from everybody about your quarterback. Yeah. You had a chance to see Cole Payton up close. Obviously, last season got hurt during the middle part of last year. The big question, I know I've asked him, he's heard it, is can he throw the football? Everybody has seen his athleticism, Tim. You being a former quarterback yourself, give us your synopsis of what Cole Payton is as a thrower.
Oh, well, he's 64% for his career right now.
No.
Good. This summer it was unfortunate. I had to have a little bit of shoulder surgery. And so I wasn't able to do the things that take me away from the office and an off time. So I went back and reevaluated all of our drop back, the play action, really thoroughly for the quarterback's sake. And I just kind of wanted to get another glimpse at it. Yeah. And I can tell you this, we move forward as a football team. Now, all the discussion all year long, it just has to come back to who are the guys that are going to make the play on 3rd and 8, 6-man pressure, empty, like Cam and Raj did in the national title.
Yep.
And so the one thing I was encouraged about going back and looking at it is Cole's operating 80% of who we want to be and what we can do and what we did in the past really well. It's kind of figuring out where's his niche versus Cam that might be a little bit different, and let's not be stubborn as coaches. I don't care if we like or Dan Larson likes a concept. Can the quarterback freaking play it, and does he like it? And let's call those plays. And so that's what it'll still be all about here moving forward in fall camp. And we cannot talk about the quarterback position without talking about Nathan. Nathan is whatever. If there's any separation, Nathan is on the heels and keeping that position very competitive. I do like where we're at as a whole for the position. It's going to shake out pretty quick.
I have to also, I'm obligated to ask you, this is my first one on offensive line, because you have 3 new guys.
I think it's fair this year.
You're replacing 2 guys that are in the NFL, one's in the CFL. How is that? What did you see after evaluating spring ball to say, okay, I think we have our 5, or is that something you still want to have played out here in fall camp?
Dan Larson's done a great job in the past. Chewy's doing a good job. Dylan Chimera. The bottom line is these knuckleheads, right, like a young group, they all took turns messing some things up. Therefore, I think the defensive front was a little bit ahead of us. if these guys can just get into a room and say, hey, we're going 5 for 5. I'm playing for my brother, and I'm not letting him down. And we're not most certainly putting the ball at jeopardy and getting the quarterback hit like lickety-split. So there was a lot of growth, but there was a lot of onesies, 4 for 5, 4 guys doing the job, and then a 5th breaking down. And they kind of all seem to take their turns.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that position. I'm so excited for what I'll call the preseason with you guys this year. We're going to have not preseason, meaning these games don't matter. We got to win them all.
Yep.
But we're going to push our football team, and especially the offensive line, the young offensive line, we're going to push them in the weight, strength, and conditioning area all the way through our bye week. And so the approach has got to be about improvement.
Yeah. I'm intrigued. Bo Johnson is a huge human being there. And obviously, we saw it last year. Griffin Empey developed and started 14 out of 16 games last season. I know you really like what Josh Mangan can do, and he got healthy at the end of spring. But the guys have the size. The size is certainly there. It's just now about putting it all. And Lewinsky played a little bit last year. I know you like Nate Schleckloff. Those are guys that all now have a chance to really earn a spot out there.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be like ginormous like we've been before. Some years we've been 6'5" across the board.
Yeah.
But the other guy, Devin Lockerby's had a really, really good summer, and he had a pretty good spring. And so really, if you look at it, Fraley and Empey, it's just that tackle. We'll be starting 2 new tackles for the first time in a long time that are both making their first start. And then however that right guard position shakes out, it'll be good.
I'll ask the football guy. Now with a left-handed quarterback, does the right tackle become more important as the blind side, or is that not a big deal?
Well, I answered that question when Tristan Wirfs was coming out, right side versus left side. Whether you get hit in the face or in the back, it's one and the same, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It just used to be the right side for the defense. That DN used to be the guy that they would highlight.
Okay.
And so you wanted your left tackle to be the best player. Not necessarily.
Okay. We're going to have your schedule we're going to put up on screen here. You're playing your first 2 on the road. What do you make of that? I remember when you came back as offensive coordinator, first 2 games of 2014 were at Iowa State, at Weber State. You like that, how that sets up?
I absolutely love it. I do. If you were to say, hey, give me one thing to describe NDSU football, or you're always fighting complacency, and like how do you stay hungry and humble? What's better than going on the road 2 times in some heat, to grab their attention, our players, right?
Yep.
Rather than saying, okay, we're at home and it's so and so, it's gonna, you eliminate that advantage and now we got to go do it. I like that, and I like that for a young team that's going to get better and better every week. And that's where I'm asking Bison Nation to be ready to help us on that home opener.
Right.
And from what I'm hearing, Nashville's going to be a blast. I wish we'd go out there 2 days early. We've got a business to take care of, but it sounds like it's going to be fun.
Well, it sounds like fans are going to stay from Charleston and drive to Nashville that are going to make a twofer out of it to start the season.
I would be very shocked if there's not 8,000 or better in Nashville.
That'd be fantastic.
Let's go, Bison Nation.
It could be a potential of 2 trips to Nashville if things work out the way you want. Defensively, I really think that's going to be maybe the strength, at least to start the season, knowing what you have back there, especially on the back end, something you and I talked about last fall camp of the question marks at corner and safety. That's not the case, at least in my opinion, heading into 2025.
It just reminds me of so many other years. Your strength is over here. The next year
it moves, right?
When you're 88% on your roster, North Dakota State recruited kids, versus 12 transfers, and I love our transfers.
Yep.
I mean, I think they're going to be, maybe more than any other year, they're going to be more impactful than ever. But I think we're going to cover better, and I think we've got some real leadership, some unbelievable growth in the last 12 months. When you think of like a Darius Givens, a Crumby, those guys have grown so much. Duffy's
Ryan
leadership.
Jones, what he
Ryan
played at the end of last season was amazing how he played.
The more I get to know Alexander, he
is
consistent in his approach, and I think he's going to have a really good season. And then I like the JMU kid, Antoine that we've
Booth,
added. Booth has really moved around really well. Marion Moore is doing a good job. There's some young guys that's exciting. Talon Edey and Will Stile.
Yeah.
And so I think at least there's some competition there, and now there's some experience that you can lean on that group.
Last thing before I let you go here, and I appreciate you doing this, just to overview of fall, obviously staying healthy. What else do you want to see from the 30 days of fall camp before you open up with the Citadel?
You know what? I'm glad you kind of said that. Like, staying healthy in today's game is so critical. Yep. I hit a patch probably around July 20th. I completed Bill Belichick's book, and I wrote down something new, different. You know what? We're going to compete and push these guys. I want to see the fur fly. And it's imperative every day that we get better and that we provide a lot of opportunity for our true freshmen, redshirt freshmen, and our sophomores to scrimmage a little bit. So yeah, we got 12 guys or so that are seniors, and of those 12, 5 or 6 really need to get protected. But outside of that, I think we've got to be physical, and we've got to have a real competitive edge and spirit about us. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of having to say whoa to these guys.
Yeah. Break some things up during camp.
I think we're gonna go. We're gonna get on edge earlier this year, and we're gonna rock and roll.
You were picked first. Did that mean anything to you in the preseason poll?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But it means something from this standpoint only. Like the respect level is still there. We have an unbelievable staff in this league with head coaches. Even though there's some nuance, I've been really impressed with everybody. It's just a little bit more. There's some more unknowns. Someone asked me, what does the Citadel look like? I've been more focused on our football team again than watching a group of guys that may have a lot of turnover or unturnover.
And you did that last year with Colorado. I remember I talked to you about that, and you started Colorado when fall camp started. I mean, you looked a little bit at Shador and obviously Travis Hunter, but just it's not coach speak that you did that last year.
I think this day and age, the opponent study in the first 2 or 3 games is not quite as critical. I know this for certain. It's more about our guys, the principles and the concepts and the effort level and the execution that we have. You're exactly right. Last year I spent most of my time studying Shador and the kind of player he was, and then obviously Travis Hunter, but we had no idea of really what they were going to do schematically and who was going to be out there around those guys. And so that was a big benefit for us to dig in and say, hey, this is about us, about the Bison getting better.
All right, now I really have to go. 2 guys that are going to break out. You gave me Bryce Lance last year, which was, you kept saying that's a no-brainer. You got 2 guys that could really be good for you this year.
I keep gravitating towards 2 guys, but they kind of, because you guys do such a good job covering us. You're not going to be shocked if Jackson Williams has a good season, and you're not going to be shocked if Donovan Woolen has a good season. So let's pick 2 others. Jackson Dutenheffer's a known commodity, but I think I'd be shocked if him and Keenan Wilson just are playing like we've always played. Kelton McCaslin most certainly has a chance, and then one of these tight ends is going to make a few more plays that haven't.
Okay.
That's a good question. I would say Jackson Williams and Donovan Woolen.
Those are pretty good players there. It's great to see you. This is about the first about 1,000 we're going to do this year.
Yeah.
Have fun today, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Yeah, see you tomorrow.
Tim Polasek, NDSU head football coach, joining us off the hop to start Missouri Valley Conference Media Day. We'll break. We got Bryce Lance coming up. We come back live to Sioux Falls. Back here after. Welcome back, everybody. Live in Sioux Falls, Hot Mic rolls on. Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day. Our thanks to Tim Polasek for getting us started. We roll on with our next guest from North Dakota State. Last year, he had 1 career reception. Then 2024 happened, became an All-American, caught 17 touchdowns, and one of the greatest seasons in Bison football history. It's Bryce Lance from Marshall, Minnesota. It's great to see you, bud. Thanks for doing this. I know you're going to get asked 8 million questions about last year, which I wanted to, but I want to talk more about 2025. First, describe this about how jump-starting the year and having an event like this and you being part of it.
Yeah, super cool for the Missouri Valley to put this event on. I mean, we have so many talented teams, so many talented players in this conference. So I think it's definitely about time that something like this happens. But it's super cool to see all my competitors. Different situation.
You're
but
right.
Yeah,
you're not sizing anybody up yet, are you?
No, not quite yet. But,
this is the final respite before it begins. I know you've had summer workouts and OTAs are going to get going here in a little bit, but are you is it nervous energy in your gut? Like, okay, I can't wait to get going before fall camp starts next week.
Yeah, definitely. I think the whole team, honestly, is just ready to get going. The words fall camp can sometimes strike fear in people's eyes, but I think guys are just ready to get going and get the season started for sure.
So when for people that don't know, Bryce, so when spring ball ends to when fall camp starts, what's the schedule for you? What's the last few months been like?
Yeah, so we get a little bit of a break in May, and then we're back right at the end of May. Actually, not until June. So we start workouts then. So we do lifts, runs. We got meetings. A lot of it's player led as well. Coach Polasek likes to emphasize that it's a player led program.
Yep.
So a lot of captains practices, things like that. But yeah, we're just working towards towards our goals this year.
So when the freshmen come in, when they get here either June 1 or June 15, what is that like? What do you remember about when you got in, and what is that like now as an upperclassman to welcome in a new group of players?
Yeah, we were just talking about that the other day with some of my friends, but it's crazy looking back at it now and just seeing the looks in freshmen's eyes, because I remember I had those same looks.
Well, you're probably looking at Christian Watson like, holy cow, like who's like this guy? Really?
Right. So I just try to be as much of a mentor, as a leader as I can for those guys, like I had when I was that age, and really they're just looking for direction right now, and I just give them all I can.
How do you feel like a leadership role? Does that suit you? Is that one you have to kind of adjust to?
Yeah, I feel like it's something that I kind of naturally came into, especially coming into this year. I think I've been around a lot of really great leaders that have kind of exemplified what it means to be a leader, especially in this program. So I think it's something that I came into naturally, and I'm just really trying to encourage and support all the guys around me.
Everybody has asked the fan base when they email my show or find me and say, well, Cole Payton's a great athlete. Can he throw? Okay, well, you came in with Cole Payton, so honestly, you're the number one authority I can ask on this. Give me the lowdown on your QB. Can he throw the football?
Cole Payton has a arm. Yes, Cole Payton can throw. Everyone will see during the season. We don't got to say much now, but yes, Cole Payton can throw the football, and very well, I might add.
We saw a little bit of connection during spring ball, but I'll go back to that. You guys came in together. Have you had that kind of bond since you guys came in as first freshmen?
Yeah, for sure. I think, coming in, being a receiver, and then Cole being a quarterback, obviously, we've always just had a connection on a personal level.
Yeah.
And I think him getting able to play in those freshman 4 games, and him getting those opportunities before maybe I got those opportunities, definitely made me look to him and ask him questions and things like that. And I learned a lot from Cole. But yeah, we have a great connection, so I'm super excited to see where that goes this year.
It's crazy to say this out loud, Bryce, but I'm firmly confident in saying that North Dakota State may have the top wide receiver group in the country in FCS back, which in a program that runs the football as much as NDSU does, you guys have that. You're inside of it. Tell me, how special can this wide receiver group be in 2025?
Yeah, I think this could be the most electric wide receiver we've had through this program, and that's saying a lot because you know the players we've had. So I'm just super excited. We come in and day out and just work. We don't really do many off days as receivers. And we're all just pushing the envelope, trying to get better, always pushing each other. So I'm excited. We got Raja back, yourself, Makai's back. Chris Harris had a really good year. Jackson Williams, I think we just got to see a little bit. We got to see Isaiah St. Romain blow up during spring ball. Logan Conklin's making catches. I can't forget my guy Johnny Gores. Tell me about how different you are. Obviously you got Makai and Chris who are huge. You're not any small guy, but Raj is his role as well. Yep.
What makes you guys so different that you bring different things to the table?
Yeah, I think like you said, we all have our own strengths. But at the end of the day, we this room really just supports each other and just want to see each other succeed. So all the talent's there, and the work ethic is there as well. So just the way this team kind of feeds off of each other, or group, I should say, feeds off of each other is really special.
The obvious question I have to ask you is, what do you do for an encore after last season? And I know it's not about numbers and stats.
Yeah.
For wide receivers, that's what people look at.
Right.
How would you judge personally for you a successful 2025?
Championship. I think, especially being a leader on this team, I think that's the goal, and that's the only goal, honestly. All our team goals are ahead of us. Personally, there's definitely things I can do better, and I think I focused on them, this off season. But improving myself is part of improving the team, so I had to do that as well.
You, I will say, snuck up on teams last year. People just didn't know.
Right.
That ain't going to be the case in 2025.
Right.
How do you mentally prepare for that, knowing you're going to get doubled, maybe tripled out there, that there's going to be plenty of coverage on you this year?
Yeah, I love it, honestly. If I had opportunity to bring another guy over me and get one of my teammates open, that sounds like great news to me, because we got some talent all over. So, and I'm also not afraid of the challenge. if people want to double me, that's great. But I'm also confident in my skills too. So I'm excited.
The year you had, how personally gratifying was it? Saying, I know I talked to your mom and dad in Frisco that not sure if this is going to work out here, if maybe go somewhere else. To stick it out and then have that kind of year, how gratifying was that?
Yeah, it was just the biggest blessing, honestly, the whole year. Just the belief and trust that my coaches and teammates had in me, it kind of ignited the flame. that was always inside of me for sure. But I think last year was just, like you said, very gratifying. It was just a blessing, and I had just a blast.
To have the off season that you had, how overwhelming was that? Your phone's blowing up. You're dealing. I know, and I know your mom and dad dealt with a lot of it. How much trickled down to you? Like, hey, there's high-level teams that would love for you to come transfer and go play there.
Yeah, I mean, there's no really way to avoid it. And I know a lot of guys have gotten hit with stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was overwhelming for like a couple hours, I'd say. Like right after when I woke up one morning after the national championship
Phone
game.
just going nuts?
Yeah. And so initially I just talked to my parents. They told me the situation, and then just, it's weird because, teams can't reach out to you directly. So it's just different sorts of people that I haven't talked to in years maybe.
Okay, so there were people that you knew that were reaching out, or were they strangers as well?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah,
really?
both. Yep.
Interesting.
So, very interesting situation. Like I said, dealt with it within the span of a few hours, and then it was on to getting better for the Bison.
Was there any hesitation on that? Are you coming back in your mind?
Maybe for like a second, but I don't like.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it was really just I knew I had the best opportunity for here.
Well, I mean, your former team of yours just got drafted in the first round in Grace Sable. I mean, I argue that, and it's fine. I don't begrudge anybody going, and for Marty or Cody Heisman to go in and go do their thing, and Enoch as well. But, I mean, you can make – and your brother obviously is a prime example of that, of seeing what you can do out of NDSU.
Yeah, definitely do not judge or hold any grudges against any of my teammates who have gone. I understand different people have different situations, so – never judgment or hate towards that, but I just didn't know what's best for me, and I had a really good circle around me, in my ear, so I'm really happy with the decision I made.
I got to ask about older bro. What's he told you about Coach Harbaugh and the Chargers so far, and getting ready? Because obviously they're already started. Their camp's already get going.
Yeah, no, he's having a blast.
Yeah.
He's a big fan of Harbaugh and the culture of the Chargers down there, so he's really excited for the season.
The opportunity to get going here, just knowing it's 2 games on the road to start. I was asking Coach Polasek about that. He was really excited about taking a young team to go on the road. Be it an upperclassman, an older player, what do you make of that, of playing the first 2 games on the road to start the year?
I'm excited. I think right away we just test what this team is made of. Honestly, just on the road, it's going to be hot, and I think we're going to be ready. I mean, we practice outside in fall camp at 1 p.m., 1:30 p.m., so it's going to be all right. We're going to be ready. Kramer's going to have us hydrated and all that, so it's going to be good. I'm excited.
He's licking his chops at you guys, right? You actually see him all year, though, right?
Yeah. So he's already been honest about hydrating. We started hydrating a few weeks ago, so we're ready.
All right, before I let you go, I already know wide receiver-wise. How about the other side, DB? Who's one that we don't know that could step up and be really, really good in 2025?
Don't know?
Yeah. We haven't heard of yet, or maybe hasn't played a ton yet.
Yeah, good question. Duffy, and Marion Moore, true freshman.
Really?
Yeah, he came in looking really good. So I'm excited about his journey this year for sure.
Those guys talking trash yet? As true freshmen, you don't let that happen.
Not to me. Never that. No.
It's great to see you, man. Thanks so much for the time. Have a great year. Stay healthy, all right? We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Bryce Lance joining us, NDSU senior wide receiver from Marshall, Minnesota, off a 17-touchdown season in 2024. We'll break. We come back. I'll wrap up our first hour. Big second hour plan here. We're live on location, Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day. We're back right after this. Well, welcome back, everybody. Live on location here in Sioux Falls, a Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day. Holy cow, first hour already in the books here. Great stuff from Tim Polasek and Bryce Lance. We appreciate them joining us. You heard it from Polasek. He's calling for Donovan Woolen to have a breakout year there, and Jackson Williams, which I believe I wrote about, and we actually did that in our breakout players last week on Hot Mic when we picked the top 5 guys to break out. Both those were in there, so actually I do know something there. But and great stuff with Bryce Lance. I think it's really interesting to see what he does in 2025. Knowing full well that defenses are certainly going to be scheming for him, knowing what's up, that is going to be a significant challenge. But he had just a dynamite year. You look back at the last 3 games he had of 2024, amazing. Second hour is on deck. We come back. South Dakota State head coach Dan Jackson will join us. Sam Hagen from Park River, North Dakota. Jackrabbit as well is coming up. And we start our second hour on Hot Mic, live on location from Sioux Falls and Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day. We're back on WDAY Extra, KSFL in Sioux Falls, KMBN in Rapid City, and Inforum.com. Back to start hour 2 right after this.
This is Hot Mic. Hot Mic on the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2 of Hot Mic live on location in Sioux Falls at the Pentagon for Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day. Had an action-packed first hour. We got a bunch of guests lined up in our second hour, which starts off with one of the 4 new head football coaches in the Missouri Valley in 2025, Dan Jackson, leader at South Dakota State. It's great to see you, bud. Thanks so much for making time.
Appreciate you
it has
having me
been
on.
a hectic, maybe that's not even the right word, 7 months since you got the job, but is it still like water out of a fire hose for you? How's life gone since taking over?
It's been a busy 7 months, certainly. With a little bit of hectic sprinkled in there, but it's been really exciting, too. There's nowhere else I'd rather be doing it for, people with, and a community that can drive you. So it's been wild, and I don't really expect it to slow down. It's just shifting into different phases, and now getting into game management phase and ready for the season and execution with the players. But it's been fun. I think we've checked every box to this point.
You are one now of the few alums from Omaha football. Connor Riley's the other guy I know, Brian Shepard, and yourself. How much pride do you have that it's not there anymore, that was a great, great football school for a long, long time?
UNO had great football tradition, and it was sad when they closed it down, honestly, and I think they'd be thriving had they not. But really, honestly, just I'm proud of just being from the city of Omaha. So, family there and the community that's supported me all the way through, and it's fun to be able to go back home. And people joke with me I should run for mayor one day, but my wife heavily disagrees with getting into politics. So,
well, I want to get to that a bit about how much of a player you are in Nebraska. That was a big deal when you were first at South Dakota State. How much you recruited the state of Nebraska, and I know it's been a big deal again. There's no easy transition, but obviously I want to start with the tragic news of what happened a few weeks ago with Nate White and how. There's no preparation for that, but how do you feel like the team has dealt with what such a horrible occurrence that happened a few weeks ago?
I'm so proud of our team on so many levels, honestly. These guys are together. They're close. It's the closest football team that I've ever been a part of in my career. And, that is displayed sometimes in times of adversity. And, there's no playbook for how to be able to manage a situation like this. I first want to acknowledge Nate, his family, his parents, Crystal and Les, just phenomenal people. And the thing about Nate that I want people to understand and know about him is how great of a person he was, his energy, his smile. He was the type of kid that connect with a small-town South Dakota guy at a street dance or hang with the boys from the city. He was somebody that in his own quiet way connected with everybody. So he was only with us a short time, and I know externally people can say it was only there 6 months, but he was part of the family, and I think our guys have come together. Our guys have rallied. Our guys are looking forward to honor him. And we talk about last play in our program, and that's doing everything as if it's your last. And there was a true life example of that.
Just a tragic, just a horrible, horrible deal. There's no easy segue, but we haven't had a chance to chat on our show yet. When you hear Jimmy's leaving, the job's open, and you're at Idaho with Jason Eck, is this something automatic, like I want to throw my name in the hat? Describe when you found out the job was going to open up.
Yeah, I always answer this one truthfully. First, Jimmy and I are like best friends. Jimmy was in my wedding. We were just at Cabo for Christian Smith's wedding. So we're really close. And so I've really stayed connected to the program through him. And, I kind of knew he had some things going on and, had thought about it. But I really – try to play in the present. So, I kind of knew, and we still had some games to play at Idaho, and we needed to be able to play our best. And then, there was a tough decision, whether it was staying at Idaho as the head coach or going to New Mexico at that time. And prayed on it, kind of went with my gut, was going with Jason. When it opened up, I talked to my wife about it, and we were unsure, honestly, because we had just had so much transition. Yeah. But after I talked to Justin Sell on the phone for 5 minutes, it just reminded me of everything I loved about South Dakota State. It reminded me about the community and truthfully, and what's going on in college football these days. I wanted to be somewhere where we could do it our way, the right way, it's the purest form of football that remains. And I'd be lying to you if getting back into some really good rivalry games, North Dakota State.
Yeah.
I mean, those things are some of the highlights of my career, being a part of those games. No matter where you coach, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Then you have to deal with the roster purge. Obviously, there's going to be guys that are gone, trying to get guys to stay. How hectic was that? Okay, I need to figure out who's going to be on this team. How hectic of a 2-3 week stretch, or even longer, of that was?
It was a hectic, probably 5 to 6 weeks, really. And there's a site you can go on and see who's in the portal. So I take the job and I see that there's like 18 guys in the portal. It's like, okay, I can recruit. We'll get a lot of these guys back. Well, I showed up the first day and the thing got updated. There was 53 guys in the portal. So it was, from 6 a.m. to 10 at night, I was calling the kids and connecting with them. The most challenging part, to be real with you, was that they were on break. Had I just been able to get them all in one room, one team meeting, I think there would have been we could have moved quicker. But just individual phone calls, getting our Jackrabbit former players associate involved, calling guys. Our quarterback is a special person and player, Chase Mason, and our left tackle, Quentin Christensen, the same. They really helped me kind of attack it as well. And so we just chipped away. And I think the best thing looking back on it, honestly, is the guys on our football team want to be there, and they are passionate about it. And I really wish the best for the guys that did make a move. And some of those guys, it may have made sense for them.
Yep.
And we have some really talented guys that it's their time to go. So it was hectic. It was crazy. And trying to connect with guys that were all over the country was a bit challenging. But
so Chase obviously decides to come back. You got to be like, all right, awesome. We got this guy back. Bison fans had a chance to see him. Missouri Valley fans have had a chance to see just a glimpse of him. Give us, you've seen it. He's obviously an unbelievable baseball player. He turned down probably a pro baseball career to come play college football. What makes this guy a special player at quarterback?
First, just who he is as a person. He's extremely humble, and he has every reason not to be. He's the biggest, fastest, most talented person probably his entire life growing up. And his humility first sticks out to me. His authentic and raw, genuine heart sticks out to me as well. And he and I connect over that because I'm not a very scripted person. I'm going to go with my gut on a lot of things. And so he has quickly become like a son to me. I love his excitement and energy to take over and lead, but also learn. He had a lot of football that he needed to learn. He's not a gadget guy anymore, and he can make every throw, and he can do everything that we need him to do. He just hadn't had to do it yet.
Yeah.
And so it's been fun to see his growth and his maturity. And truthfully, he's one of the better athletes that I've ever been around and coaching, and been in the SEC. I mean, he fits as that caliber player, so really excited. It's
really interesting with NDSU and SDSU. Both have Nebraska natives at quarterback that both have showed unbelievable ability to run, but not necessarily throw. That each team seems like, at least to me, their starting quarterbacks are in the same spot with Cole Payton and Chase Mason.
Very similar, very similar. And I remember recruiting Cole out of high school. What a phenomenal person he is. And he's going to – they are very, very similar players that are probably excited to show all of their talent from a throwing standpoint and reading defense as an execution. But it is – as a defensive coach, when you're playing somebody like a Cole Payton or a Chase Mason, it completely transforms how you have to operate. Those guys are a nightmare.
We're going to throw up the schedule for you on our screen for viewers at home to watch. Obviously, you get Sacramento State, who's made plenty of offseason headlines. I don't need to dive too much into that. But the game in Bozeman just screams to me that second week of this. And I know you didn't make the schedule. It was made before you got there. But when you saw it, what stood out to you? Like, okay, we got some challenges in the non-conference before we even get to Valley play.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the schedule and how it shapes up. I think for us, we're going to be a team that improves every week. The secret sauce for the last few years has been all the talent, but it's really the reps that those guys played together. Yeah. I mean, O-line, quarterback, run it. You go down the line, these guys had thousands of reps together, and that's valuable in football. So for us, every week and every rep we take together as a team, we're going to get better. So I want to be challenged early to know exactly where we're at, and I can't wait for game one. That's going to be exciting.
Night game to start. You got to be just beyond. I mean, as a former coach now being back,
I get emotional thinking about it. I get emotional thinking about it. Having the players coming out of the tunnel and our fans that have been so behind us throughout this process. I know our guys are itching. We got a lot of work to do. But going out to Bozeman, to be able to get some exposure to a raucous environment, to a really good program, to a phenomenal head coach who's also had a lot of transition. Yep. I mean, when you look at their staff and you look at their roster, that's going to be a really unique game. I think all of it is unique, really.
You mentioned about being back in what was one of the appealing things of taking the job about rivalry games. You saw firsthand how the Dakota Marker changed. You were part of three huge wins the Jackrabbits had over the Bison. How did you see it firsthand change when you guys came to Fargo and won in 16, then won again in 17, of how that changed things because now ESPN wants in on it. They got the Dakota Marker game for the second year in a row.
No doubt. Hopefully it's game day. That'd be fun. No,
be awesome. I've had it once already. Let's do it again.
Yeah, coming in, I have so much respect for North Dakota State and how their tradition and their culture and how it's just been built and sustained over time. And you think of the coaches that have come through there and the players. We always had so much respect for the Bison. And for us to be able to just chip away at it, we talk a lot about a belief in our program, and I really think it was just a daily belief that you were going to be able to chip away and build, and Coach Stig's steadiness and his consistency allowed us to do that. Players playing with confidence and playing free. We honestly used to take that game and change a lot that week, and it was, everybody got a little tight and a little stressed out. As soon as we started saying this is another game and it is a big one and it's important, but just go out there and play. As soon as we started taking that approach to the rivalry game and not tensing our players up, we started getting the best out of them. And gosh, there's so many classics.
Is there one that sticks out to you? Is there one play or memory that sticks out of the Dakota Marker games?
As a coach, sometimes you think of the losses. So I remember having Carson Wentz, beat and him going down the field in a 2-minute drill and him throwing an inside fade to R.J. Erzandowski.
Yeah,
so
that one was all right.
That one hurt my heart. But I remember the Winnicky touchdown in the corner.
1 second left. Just amazing games.
Yeah, those that one probably sticks out to me the most.
Nebraska obviously means a lot to you. It's your home state. Omaha is a huge hotbed for unbelievable talent. Not everybody can be a Husker or go to Iowa. Why has it been such a haven for SDSU to find some dynamite players to come to Brookings in your mind?
It starts with knowing the community. When you're recruiting somewhere, there's some guys that have stars or have offers from places, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best player in that city or town. You have to have a level of connection to be able to find out who's the real player, who's the real, regardless of who's recruiting him. And so I kind of really took pride in finding those type of kids initially. And then when they came up and had success, like I think of Cade Johnson. Cade Johnson walked on for us and was an All-American.
Such a good player.
There's guys like that come in. Those kids also have a chip on their shoulder that maybe Nebraska didn't look at them.
Yep.
And there wasn't a lot of people recruiting it back when I was an assistant. Now it's much more heavily invested in. So we're going to get back to it. We've got a good number of verbal commitments right now from there. Yep. So we need to rebuild that area, in my opinion, making sure we're getting the best players from there. And then as the head coach now, I'm really focused on the state of South Dakota.
Last thing before I let you go, the Jacks are picked second in the preseason poll, which I know is a worth amount of money as the paper it's printed on. But there's real difference of opinion, Dan, I think, of, South Dakota State lost so much. They're not going to be very good. I'm of the opposite opinion. I know what you guys have back. I know what you have. I'm looking at the guy here from Park River, North Dakota. I know how good he is. I know how good your quarterback is. How do you handle that knowing it's a great unknown? SDSU is a known quantity, but we don't know some of these guys that you're going to ask to play big roles this year.
The rankings are really a reflection of what we've done in the past and media and our history and tradition, which is really cool to be respected that way. Our players, they know we got to go prove it on the field, and they have a chip on their shoulder and they're motivated to go do that. I would say this: we are talented, we're hungry, we're motivated, and we're really good on both lines. And as you know, if you can win up front on the offensive and defensive line, you have a shot. And as I mentioned prior, we're going to be a team that, from a timing and connection and chemistry standpoint, should be playing our best football at the end. So we need to stay healthy, stay engaged and motivated, and trying to win one day at a time. And I think we will like the result.
It's great to see you, man. Thanks so much for doing this. Congrats on the job, and we'll see you down the road, all right?
It's coming soon.
Yeah, have a great fall camp. Yep. Dan Jackson joining us, South Dakota State new head football coach. We come back. Park River's own Sam Hagen, Jackrabbit senior offensive lineman, will join us as Hot Mike rolls on WDAY Extra. KSFL in Sioux Falls. We're back right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Hot Mike live on location rolls on here on Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day from the Pentagon here in Sioux Falls. Of course, don't forget, later today we're on from 1 to 3, exclusive on WDAY Plus at Inforum.com. We'll have UND, South Dakota will be here, much more coming up later on. Eric had to adjust the camera. We don't normally have 6'6" guys sitting next to me. This made me really small. I also feel really old because the guy on my left I started talking to, what did you say, 16?
Yeah.
It's the first interview we did on Hot Mike with Park River's Sam Hagen. It's great to see you, bud. South Dakota State senior offensive lineman. I can't believe senior in college also makes me feel old. First off, great to see you. Getting ready for the year. Tell me about the offseason and looking forward to 2025.
Yeah, we've been working. New strength coach in there. We're getting us right every day. we haven't had a real day off since 4th of July, I guess. But, yeah, no, we're gearing up, ready to go. So.
All right, so take me back. We just had Coach Jackson on, and obviously the transition. So you find out Coach Rogers is going to go. Well, how much was indecision with you about, okay, am I going to stay? Am I going to go in the portal? And your ultimate decision to stay?
Yeah, it was tough. I'm not going to lie. There was a lot of talk with my parents and the family and teammates and everything, and we decided to stay, see what we were going to get after, and we were really fortunate to pick up a great coach, and he did a great job with the staff. Yeah, I mean, we were just really fortunate to where we landed. So
I know Chase was pretty outgoing and Quentin was pretty good on getting the guys to stay.
Yeah.
How big a deal was that to you for your quarterback and your starting left tackle to be that out in front of things?
Yeah, I mean, it was good. They did a lot of work calling, making sure guys were they were pushing to stay, but they were just really checking in on guys' mental and just making sure they're doing all right, because at the end of the day it's a brotherhood and we're all part of something bigger than just a team. So I think just them calling and reaching out made other guys want to call and reach out, and then before you knew it, we had a lot of guys.
For you personally, was it something you wrestled with for a long time, or was it I got my decision down, I'm going to do this?
There was a while there where I was just weighing my options and stuff, but once I knew what I wanted to do, it was pretty easy to stay.
And you've already gone through it once. Obviously, you transfer from UND to South Dakota State, so you get there, you play, you have a great year, and then that happens. You're thinking, boy, am I going to have to leave again? How much did that go through your mind after the announcement with Coach Rogers?
A lot.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, I really didn't like the portal when I was in it the first time. And
you talked to us about that last time you were on, about how crazy that was.
I was ready to be I was ready to pick a home and be done with the portal, and I really did not want to do it again. So I was glad, happy with the decision to stay.
So tell me about 2024. Finally, you get a chance to start. You play 12 games. You're up there on one of the best offensive lines in the country. Just what about SDSU felt so right last year to say, okay, this was the decision. This was the right decision for me?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's really a player-led program, and I think the older guys really take you in under their wing and just coach you up, make sure you're doing all right. Like I said with Quentin and Chase, that culture of the brotherhood is really special, and it does feel right. It's hard to explain. You can ask the new transfers that come in too, and so I was talking to some of them the other day, and they were just like, yeah, I don't really know how to explain it to you, but it just feels right. So
to have the kind of success you had playing, starting, how gratifying was that personally to come in? It was one thing at UND, but then to get to SDSU in a new place and to be inserted into the lineup, how personally gratifying was that for you? It
was good. You don't go anywhere expecting to start or anything, so earning that starting spot was it was nice. It felt good. So
knowing now be a senior, upperclassman, expectations come with that. The new guys are going to look to you. Transfers are going to look to you like, okay, how does this go about? How does that role suit you, being now the guy to be a leader on this Jackrabbit team?
Yeah, I mean, you just got to step up. The guys before us did it, and you just got to take on a new role as a leader. And, for some guys it might be vocal. Some guys it might be through example. And I think personally, as a guy like me, I'm more of a doer than a sayer. Mm-hmm. So, just being the older guy and mentoring the younger guys is what I was looking forward to, I guess.
We were asking Coach Jackson about this. There's real, indecision, maybe the right word on this, about what the Jacks are going to be in 2025, about how good you're going to be, knowing full well you lost some guys, you're bringing some guys back. You're one of the returners. How do you handle that, the outside? I know it's just outside noise, you're not worried about it, but I don't know how good South Dakota State's going to be in 2025.
It's really about the guys inside the four walls. I mean, it doesn't really matter if anyone else believes in us or not.
Yeah.
I mean, we're our own group. It doesn't matter what other people say, so the outside noise doesn't – we kind of train to not let that affect us. So, we do what we can, do what we do best, and then the rest will take care of itself.
Last thing before I know you got to get going here. How big a deal is Park River, North Dakota to you? And knowing it's a football factory, the amount of guys that have gone out of Park River and played Division I football, you're one of them. How big a deal is that to be back home?
So I'm going to make a little correction. I played for Park River, but I'm from Fordville.
Don't get anybody mad in Fordville on that. Okay.
Yeah. But
how big a deal is that?
No, it's really cool coming from a small town and to have that many guys come out of there. So, it's just special. It's really cool to be a part of something like that.
All right, I appreciate the official correction on that. It's great to see you, man. Have a great year. Stay healthy. We'll talk during the season, okay?
Sounds good.
Great to see him. Sam Hagen joining us here from Fordville, North Dakota. Let me get that right. We're going to take a quick break. We come back. Southern Illinois head coach Nick Hill on the other side of the break. Back at Missouri Valley Conference Media Day right after this. Welcome back, everybody, to Hot Mike on this Monday morning, live on location here at the Sanford Pentagon in Sioux Falls. Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day rolls on. Pleasure to be joined by one of the elder statesmen, even though it looks like he can still play college football. Southern Illinois head coach Nick Hill joins us. Great to see you, bud.
Yeah,
now I think you're second in longevity in the league.
Coach Spax got me,
so Spax, the old, and how does that resonate with you? You're the second longest tenured coach.
I turned 40 this year. That was kind of a tough birthday for me. And then now I come to these things, and I'm longest tenured head coach and all that. So it just means I'm getting old.
Man.
So, but no, it's all good. Obviously, it's been a blessing of my lifetime to be the head coach where I'm at and grew up and played. But yeah, it's crazy to think like 10 years have went by pretty quick.
Man. I got to ask about this. You've been part of the league. We've done the Zoom stuff, which is okay. This to be in person, to get people excited about the upcoming college football season. When you heard about the idea, what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it kind of all started in the head coaches meetings in Chicago. Honestly, I brought it up just like really for those players, all the teams, but specific, for our guys. But I remember going with Coach Kill, and I can still remember getting in the car with our AD, Mario Mocha, Coach Kill, myself, two players. It was in St. Louis.
Yep.
But I still remember that. It got me excited. Man, I was excited to get invited, and it just felt different than the Zoom stuff.
Yep.
And so really for the players' experience, I think it's something they'll always remember. They'll get to know these other players, the other coaches, see them in a different light, and so I think and then now getting here, everybody's done a great job with it.
How much is this the official jump start for you personally in your mind? Like, okay, I know next week we go.
Yeah.
It starts.
Yeah, no, I think this time of year, there's just something different, a feeling. I think your family knows that. Obviously, I'm gonna soak up these, get back, and some, a couple staff meetings here, and then let them get, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, and then. But yeah, it's here. It's times, media days. Everybody's talking about football around the country. NFL is cranking up, and you can get on NFL Network and watch practice, and so it's just it's in the air.
I'm really interested in your take on this. I haven't had a chance to talk to you as a former player, now as a coach, because you see each side of it, of where we're at in college athletics, specifically football. Now, how hard is it to wrap your mind around that when you were playing, what's permitted now would have been a death sentence 15 years ago?
No, I've said that a couple times to Coach Kill and some of our past players, like, man, I would have, But I'm thinking it's just a way of life,
Yep.
I think in anything that you do, Dom, I think that you would look back if you were in any job, like your profession is probably
totally
changed,
different, no doubt about
but
that.
in a different way. So you're always adapting and adjusting, and people are changing. It still boils down to getting to play this great game and coach this great game. Obviously, things have all changed. I try like crazy not to get caught up in the conversations and to even have a clue what's coming down the pipeline or try to guess. I think a lot of people waste a lot of time. Nobody's asking me. I just need to know, what's the rules
and what
do I need to know that. But ultimately now it's kind of at the you've got your team.
Yep.
We have this season. The way we play football now will decide our fate. But it has changed. It's changed for the head coach. As the things of fundraising and how do we keep up, how do we not get left behind. The meetings with your administration have to be important because they have the ultimate say of which direction they want to go. And so things have changed.
How much You always, I thought, knowing transfers were key for you. How
Yeah.
much was embracing the portal a big deal for you? Like, we have to do this. If we're going to compete, we've got to be active there.
Yeah, and then now it's we've always taken transfers, and I think we've talked about this before. I mean, even going back, Southern Illinois when we were rolling with Coach Kill, Brandon Jacobs and RQ. Really, you look back and looked at, Joel and I, but I was a transfer from basketball, and Coach Kill. But a lot of the Hall of Famers from that era transferred, whether it was junior college, Coffeyville, Brandon Jacobs, Auburn. So we were used to bringing in some players. But I think, there's just a healthy balance, and the type of guy that you bring in has to fit your mold. If not, you can really hurt your team in this era of transfer portal.
You being a former quarterback, you know how imperative quarterback play is to be successful. Obviously, you dealt with injuries last year. Jake Curry gets hurt. By the time the Bison came to Carbondale, Jake just got hurt. You're dealing with now, heck, you were on third, sometimes fourth-string quarterback.
Yeah.
How unique was that last year to juggle that, and how difficult was it just with the uncertainty? You didn't know your quarterback was going to be week to week.
Yeah, no, I think, it's just how it all has transpired. I think it's going to make us a better – I know it made me a better coach. We're so excited about DJ, and I even came in and I was telling, my brother coaches high school, but after the BYU, I'm like, DJ's going to be pretty special because that was the first time in game in the huddle.
Yeah.
How he was responding and just seeing his smile and seeing how the guys were like, okay, this guy is, because you can be talented but not have that extra stuff at quarterback, and then I'm like, okay, he has the extra stuff, and then we go to Austin Peay. We win by, I think, 2 scores. His timing, and then I see him how he responds. We win. He still respects that win, but it's like texting me, I've got to be better. You know what I mean? And so I knew there was a game coming that it's like this guy's going to go for 500-600 yards, 100-yard rushing and throw, and then Incarnate Word he has like 500, and then it's like breaks his hand.
Right.
And then we knew, we felt good because Hunter Simmons had been there, and there was a competition, but Hunter was different. So we go to South Dakota and then Illinois State. Then he breaks his leg. And so that kind of hit. And then you guys come to town. Jake's 18, gets his first start. And then we play our GA at the end, which was against
unique,
Murray.
right?
Yeah, it was pretty unique. So, but I think it ultimately made us better. Our schedules, it kind of, you were restarting with a new quarterback, because they were all three kind of different.
Yep.
So the plan you had through training camp, okay, DJ's a runner. This is the way the offense is going to go. Hunter was more of a pocket passer, strong arm, didn't move as well. So now it's like, okay, we got to start to transition this way. Then the freshman, then it's just like, let's make sure
everything's as simple
as possible. Let's give him a shot, and then and so, but it makes you better as a coach. That's our job. There's injuries a part of it. Hopefully this year it's not in waves at a certain position, but it could be, and we got the experience of it now.
We're going to put up your schedule on the screen for viewers at home. I'm automatically jealous because you guys have an FBS game, and the Bison can't play any FBS, but you got Purdue.
Yeah.
How big a deal is that for you, for recruiting-wise? You're playing a Big Ten, and you've had success playing against Big Ten schools.
Yeah, excited to go up there. We have been. I got this ask, I think, in the Zoom interviews for maybe Craig. I think the big thing is it just starts with the mentality. We've won 3 of them in my time. We won 2 of them when I was a player, and I think now it's just that if the mindset's right, like, hey, we're going to go up there. I tell them every year, like, you're going to come out and there's going to be 3-4 series in, and you're going to be like, okay, like what we saw on films there.
Yep.
There's going to be some opportunities. You pick up a couple first downs, and then it's just like, forget everything else. Let's go try to win the game, And obviously you're at, the depth and things like that. We play Ole Miss and those type of things, like the 2s and 3s come in and they come at waves. And do you have the longevity to make the game to where you can make it those 4 quarters and beat them? And the Bison have. And so we're always excited on there. But I think now the mentality of the guys is go up there of it's going to be a tough game, but one that you got to have the mindset to go and compete to win.
You have a road trip to Fargo this year. Is that something, when you look at the schedule, like for your Dakota matchups, is that something you look ahead like, okay, we're going to Brookings this year, we're going to Fargo, or they're coming to our place? Is that something you look ahead or not really?
Yeah, obviously you look at the schedule, but not really.
You got to play them all anyway,
You got to
right?
play them all, and I feel like when you start doing the scheduling and then you start saying like, hey, we got this one at home, we could win this one. You start putting a record in your head. Like after 10 years, probably when I was 30, I was doing that. I knew exactly who we played and where this one's going to be. And now I'm just like, I know we got training camp start next Tuesday, and that we have to, and probably that's probably the experience and the old, grumpy Coach Spack would tell you, but it's true. It's like we just have to concentrate on right now. We got to play 12 games, and the Missouri Valley is going to be tough. And each week you put your head down and know where you're going. But for right now, it's I couldn't even tell you the order of the games.
I'm going to use that now. You're an old grumpy coach. I'm going to say that now.
I don't know if I'm grumpy.
You're the second oldest coach in the league.
That's right.
For people that don't know, and I've tried to explain this on my show, the game with SEMO, for fans that are there, how big a deal? You lived it, you played it. How big a deal is, because we're going to see SEMO, the Bison are going to play SEMO this year right before they play you guys. How big a deal is the battle for the wheel?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's just a unique situation, 45 minutes to school. And, I think for right now, and it'll keep going forever, but, Coach Tuke coached me. He was a part of Coach Kill's staffs the entire time. He was a defensive coach. I was the quarterback, but he was a guy that I always gravitated towards and was like a leadership council guy, and I was captain. And so I would say in college football, like, I respect Coach Tuke. I mean, he's a friend, but a true mentor, one that if I called him in the middle of the season, we've done this after we play, I know he's going to try to help me out or whatever it is. And so when I see Coach Tuke, we'll meet up sometimes in the summertime, and it's such a big deal, and it's a cool. We go to SEMO. I love playing down there. They have a small environment. Yeah. It almost feel like a big high school game. Everybody's around the stadium because they bring out you can't get on the field, but really covering the whole stadium, kind of like it would be a big playoff game, and we always have just as many fans as they do. And so it's a cool deal. And then me and Tuke, like, we need to play for something. The Big Ten schools do it. Yep. Leave a legacy. Hopefully in 50 years they're still playing for this wheel. It's already beat up and things have broken off of it, but it's like so yeah, and that like prepares us. We always know we're going to have that rivalry game in the non-conference. That's going to be, no matter the records or whatever. I mean, the games, like half of them will come down to the last possession of the game.
Last year's game was amazing.
Yeah, and the year before was 4th and 9 we scored.
Yeah, that's right.
COVID, we played in the fall, one game, because Coach Tuke was like, are you bored? I'm bored. Let's see if they'll let us just play
fantastic.
one. And that came down to a walk-off field goal. And so they've all been good games, but it's a real rivalry.
I got an email to ask you, did you check to see if Nick Baker had any eligibility left heading into last year? Knowing you were out of quarterbacks.
We're out of quarterback. See if now with the rules, that's how we got Mike. Like, hey, he's our GA, but he's got a year. We were putting in waivers left and right.
It's an amazing story. Last thing, when you see your pick 6, is that a thing? You pay attention to that in the preseason or not really?
Actually, I just saw that. Not really. I think DJ's answer. I mean, we got to go out there and play.
Yeah.
You gotta. I mean, you look at the SEC. You got like Ole Miss picked 8th or 6th or something like that. We got to still go play, and maybe for some players to motivate. I think it's just a respect that, like, hey, I tell our guys all the time, if we play right, and especially with this team with DJ and those guys, like, we could win them all or we could lose them all. And if you don't have the respect and you're coming to work like that our league will humble you quickly.
No doubt.
And so we just got to go out there and play them.
It's great to see you, man.
Right.
Thanks so much for the time. We'll see you in October when you get to Fargo, all right?
I appreciate it.
Nick Hill, I will say, not old. The second longest tenured coach, though, in the Missouri Valley Football Conference, head coach of Southern Illinois. We'll take our final break. We come back. Commissioner Jeff Jackson is going to join us, and we'll wrap up our hot mic portion of Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Days on WDAY Extra right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Final segment here of a busy Hot Mic on WDAY Extra back at Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Days here in Sioux Falls. It's our pleasure to be joined by the new commish of the Missouri Valley Football Conference, Mr. Jeff Jackson. It's great to see you. We had you on. Yeah, we had you on in May when you got the job. First off, this to fruition. We talked about it when you were last on the show. Now it's here. How proud of you?
Matter of fact, when we were talking about it, I wasn't even 100% sure, so I was really trying to
make this happen.
And I did okay. But no,
and here it is.
We can't thank Josh and the Summit League staff and obviously on our side, Mike Kern and Kyle. I think they've done a great job of, again, trying to do what we can to create the best experience for our student athletes. And it's been a lot of fun, and we had a great dinner last night. The student athletes got a chance to go play some Top Golf.
Nice.
And some of them figured out that golf's not in their future. And the coaches, we had
Did you get a chance too?
No. I already know golf's not in mine. But we had a nice dinner with the coaches and just had a blast. We went to Ironwood, great restaurant, and it's been really cool.
So I got it. You're right off the hop here. One of your colleagues, the commissioner of the Big Sky, Tom Wistersill, says they're going to start playing 9 league games in 2026. Obviously,
why
with 12.
Are they doing that?
Oh, well, they got 85 schools in the league. Is that something now with 12 games being a thing starting next year? Is that something you guys have talked about yet?
It's funny. I don't think we've gotten into those conversations yet, but it was funny listening to the coaches last night. It's one of the great things about having a chance to go to dinner, and we were talking about this. There's not many times, whether you're a coach, whether you're a commissioner, whether you're a college president or chancellor, where you get to have dinner for a couple hours with somebody who does what you do. And in a very similar environment. And so it leads to some interesting conversation. And, what I was hearing for the first time is coaches talking a little bit about the challenge of getting that 12th game. So I would imagine that's going to lead to a lot of conversations in terms of how the Missouri Valley Football Conference decides to manage that. So I'm anxious to see where that leads, but we're not as far along in that conversation as the Big Sky.
All right, so now you're in the big chair. What's job one that you've wanted? You said job one was getting Valley Media Day. That's done. So what's next on the to-do list here of now that you're
for me?
For you, now the big chair.
I was sitting across from Dan Jackson, as I kind of said, and he was talking about them playing Sac State. So I was telling the team that, hey, I got to get my flight because I'm really anxious to see that game because it sounds like it's going to be a great environment. We've been hearing a lot about Sac State because of let's call it some of their aspirations.
Correct.
And so I'm really kind of curious to see how that is. I've never been to Brookings before, so that's kind of first on my list. I think we want to make sure that we have a quality season. And again, most of that, 90% of that falls on the coaches and the players. But we want to do our job making sure that we're facilitating that correctly, whether that's officiating, whether that's what's going on in the facilities, whether that's going on with our broadcast partners. I would imagine that's where our focus is going to be over the next 2 or 3 months.
Looking at where things are, obviously we talked realignment as well, and we saw some movement there. How prescient are you on that? Say, okay, we're looking for prospective new members, not only in your job in the Missouri Valley Conference, but in the Missouri Valley Football Conference as prospective members out there to potentially add?
Well, I think we're all the same, and to use a football term as a very bad ex-monster back at Cornell University several years ago, we're going to keep our head on a swivel. Okay, we're going to try and see if there are things that make sense. And I do think, and I think Josh spoke to this morning, it starts more in what's taking place in the multi-sport conferences and then having the opportunity to use the MVFC as a vessel to not only enhance those two conferences, but then enhance the MVFC. And if there's an institution that makes sense in that endeavor, I would imagine they would be a conversation for the board to have. It'll be interesting to see over the next 3 to 12 months, as you mentioned, with all the potential realignment that could take place, if there are some institutions that get into that conversation.
Just like maybe dangle as a carrot, like the Valley is,
like
just to dangle it out, like, hey, you could be a potential member in the league if you come join the Summit League, kind of a deal like that.
You said carrot, and I go immediately to Bugs Bunny. And, the carrot thing never really worked out well.
No, it didn't. No, it did not.
Of those cats,
You're dating yourself here because part of our audience has no idea what you're talking about. We talked before the House settlement came down. So as a commissioner now in 2 separate leagues, how much, you mentioned keeping head on a swivel, how much have you actually delve into this of what the settlement meant, explaining it to your presidents and athletic directors, this is what's going to happen, or even needing you to be explained about what's going on.
No, very much so, because it's first and foremost, and it's not just a house settlement. It's the pieces of the house settlement, whether you're talking about preemption, which is state law, or obviously prohibition on collegiate employment, or whether we're talking about safe harbor so we can actually self-govern ourselves. But then you throw in the transfer portal, you throw in obviously what's coming about a new Division I governance model. NIL to me also means the new relationship that our coaches and our institutions are having with their student athletes. All those things are on the plate. We're asked to be, in many ways, a jack of all trades because we need to be able to talk about those pieces. But, kind of like I said on the stage, somebody asked me what I'm thinking about, what I'm most excited about. Hey, I want to go see some ball.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm excited about.
It feels like we haven't talked anything on the field at all. I haven't really at all.
Sight of that,
yeah.
And that's what I try not to do, because
that's a good point.
I had the good fortune a month ago in my other job to get it to Omaha, not too from here, and watch Murray State play in the College World Series. And I'm telling you, that made the next 3 weeks really easy to do the things that we need to do. So every now and then you got to get those deposits.
Yeah.
And, I'm hoping that the South Dakota State-Sacramento State game is one of those deposits that we all sorely need.
You have it on the calendar for Fargo then?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard about Fargo.
I've heard about that place, but I've been to Fargo.
Yeah, yes.
I've been to Fargo.
Yes.
Okay, I actually, when I was the head coach of Furman, brought my team up there, and I think I got hosed. But, hey, it didn't end well.
Spoken like a former coach on that. Everything went against you. What have you learned about now being in the commissioner chair that maybe you didn't know on the Valley side, on the Missouri Valley football side of it, that maybe you didn't know going into the job?
As tried as great group of people to work with. Last night, having dinner with the coaches, having a son, the type of people that you're like, you know what, my son can play for any of the 10 people in this room. Okay, and the conversations that I've had the chance to have with the board. Now, certainly, I know my board because of my position in the MVC, but having a chance to get to know Andy Armacost or get to know Dave Cook, or in dealing with them as the incoming and outgoing chair of the MVFC, it's just been good, and you just feel really good about the leadership, where we're going, why we're doing, what our North Star is, which, again, trying to create the best student-athlete experience we can for our athletes. I think we're all walking in sync, and I'm excited about that.
When you were last on, we were asking about the potential expansion of the basketball tournament. No decision came. I know you're in favor of it. Are we still on course for that happening in 2026?
I think one, I'm not on the I'm not on the selection committee, and that's where the decision is being made. My last correspondence is that it's still on the table.
Okay.
I do think there may be some back and forth of whether it's 26 or 27, but the Missouri Valley Conference is still very much in the model of, hey, we would like to see the tournament expand. We would like to see more opportunities. We think there are enough quality teams that it will be a worthwhile experience for the student athlete, and a financially worthwhile experience for everybody involved.
How much you pound on the table when, especially your league was affected the most? Indiana State and Drake are sitting there like, we should have had 2 teams in the last couple of years, and you only got 1.
Well, don't really think we have to pound on the table, because I think there's a consensus in the commissioner's room that we would like to see expansion. I think the NCAA would like to see expansion. I think right now it's much more about the details. You don't want to expand and put yourself in a precarious position financially. You don't want to expand and not be prepared to manage all the different logistics that will arise because of expansion. And I think those are the things that need to be worked out to satisfaction before you can make that final decision.
The Ivy Leagues, Jeff, getting involved in the FCS playoffs. I've been
now,
clamoring
nice.
for this
I like
for
that
years.
league. I like that league.
I love the league. I've been clamoring for this for years for them to join the party, because I know how good their football is. How big a deal is that for this upcoming FCS playoffs? And now they're going to be part of this party.
Being a neophyte on this topic in this room, it's interesting, because the one thing that does come immediately in my new chair is that means there's one less at-large.
That's true.
Okay,
that's true.
So that's always makes me anxious because we're all fighting for trying to be in that 24, and now it's going to be a little bit harder to be in that 24. But I am kind of curious to see how their play in playoffs. Are they as good or are they not?
Yeah.
And
it's
just like
unknown.
what we talk about in why we think we want more teams expanding the basketball championship is because you can't find that out unless you compete against each other. So to me, it's still a little bit of an enigma to kind of know where it's going to land, because until they line up against a North Dakota State or they line up against an Illinois State, we really don't know how good they are or how good they're not.
Last thing, we got to roll here. the future of this league, where do you want to see it, the Missouri Valley Football Conference, in 5 years? Where do you want to see it positioned
I was talking with another
at?
group. I want us to be the best that we can be, and I know that's a little bit of a cliche statement. But on the other hand, I just don't know where this whole enterprise is going to be 2 or 3 years from now. Like, I think the Missouri Valley Football Conference is better than many conferences that comprise the Group of 6. And with everything that's taking place because of NIL and the House settlement, I think those conferences are moving closer to us, not further away.
Yeah.
And I wonder what this whole enterprise would look like 2 or 3 years from now, and whether we're going to see the same lines of demarcation that are currently in existence. So it's a little bit of me wanted to hold my powder just to see where this goes, because I just think, as we talked about, whether it's the House settlement, whether it's NIL, whether it's there's just so many things that are evolving that this just could be a very different enterprise 2 or 3 years from now.
That's why you get paid the big bucks to try and figure all this out.
I don't know about these big bucks you keep talking about.
Thanks so much for doing
Dom,
this.
thank you.
Congrats
My
on the
pleasure.
new gig, and we'll have you on once the season gets going, all right?
Appreciate that.
Jeff Jackson, the new commissioner of the Missouri Valley Football Conference, joining us here on Hot Mic. That's going to wrap up our show here for this morning. Again, a reminder, we're going to be back with you at 1 o'clock today from 1 to 3 with the second half. The other 5 coaches are going to be here. We'll have Josh Fenton, the commissioner of the Summit League, will join us as well for what's going to be an action-packed afternoon. You'll hear from UND head coach Eric Schmidt, USD head coach Travis Johansson, Illinois State head coach Brock Spack, host of others going to join us coming up this afternoon. We're looking forward to that. Thanks to all of our incredible guests that joined us this morning. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today. You can watch a web stream as well on WDAY+. We'll see everybody back here at 1 o'clock. Thanks so much for watching. We're back in studio in Fargo tomorrow. Thanks to our great crew back home as well. See everybody tomorrow. Thanks for watching.